Hello, my first grade friends. Miss O here, creating your video for our painting week with Alma Thomas. So our artist of the week is Alma Thomas, and she was a famous abstract painter. So she painted things, in an abstract style. We talked about that with Pablo Picasso. Things look a little bit off, different than how they do in reality, but have a style to them that we can really, really appreciate. So we're kind of changing it up, looking at things from a new perspective in a new way. This way is kind of a blocky cube way. So we have our rainbow with all of these cubes that are representing each of the rays of the rainbow. And last time you guys were here, you guys created your drawing and you were just using pencil and paper. So your drawing is going to look something like this. And this is what you're gonna paint today. I just have this so that you can see the picture very well, but all you need today is your white paper with your pencil drawing. I'm gonna start showing you how to make this an abstract painting, but if you don't have paint at home, no problem. You can use any coloring utensils you have at home. Color pencils, crayons, anything like that. You can use any of those things. So, today I'm going to show you how to do this in an acrylic paint. If you are painting, you will want a cup of water, paint, and a rag or paper towel to wipe your brush off with, and of course your brush. Also, my other suggestion today is that if you can, I'm going to use a paintbrush that's called a flathead paintbrush because it's flat all the way at the top and it's wide. So this is really going to enable me to come in and paint really easily all of those rectangles. So I really recommend using this kind of brush. And besides that, you should be good to go. So let's get started here. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to first think about, okay, I have all of my layers here, but what do I want, right? I'm going to work from the inside out, and I'm really going to think about how I want to do this. So my first layer here, this first layer of blocks I have, I think I'm going to start with my reds, my oranges, my yellows, the hot colors. And that's kind of inspired by a piece I saw by Alma Thomas. So if you haven't looked at her work yet, check out the lesson plan this week, look at her videos and her art pieces to get some inspiration. So I'm just gently going to dip my paintbrush into my acrylic paint, and it is already wet, so I do not need to add any water to it. And as you can see, I'm very carefully going around and filling in each of these rectangles. So you can kind of go either from around like this, or you can do up and down like this. You can fill them in however you like. Just see what's the most successful way for the kind of paintbrush that you have. And sometimes you can use just a tiny bit of water with acrylic to help it run a little bit if you want it to run and be a bit thinner. Or you can always go back and paint more on if you want it to be thicker. So I like to paint all of my color at a time. So I think, okay, that's all the red I'm going to want to use. I'm going to get that whole layer done. And then once I feel good about that, it's time to swirl, wipe, and blot, because we are ready for a new color. So I'm going to go from my red to my secondary color, which is orange. Now, I did not have orange paint at home, but I did have yellow and red. So since I had those two primary colors, I was able to mix orange with those two, and now I can have it in my rainbow. So as long as you have your primary colors, blue, yellow, and red, you can mix all your colors for the rainbow. Also, your rainbow does not need to look just like mine or just like Alma Thomas's. This is your artwork. So as long as it's painted and you're having fun with it, you're good to go. Of course, it's a rainbow though, so I hope to see lots of colors, lots of hues and shades. So now that I got that orange on there, like I said, our last hot color here is yellow. I'm gonna really make sure my paintbrush is clean for this because you can really tell with yellow if it's mixing if another color is getting mixed into it. And this will just continue on, kind of therapeutic way to paint, because it's like you're painting the same shapes and colors, but every time you add a layer, your piece is just getting bigger and bigger and more beautiful. So it's really a fun process. Very relaxing. which is something I think we could all use right now. And like I said, I like to make sure I've used all of my yellow before I move on to the next color, wherever I'm going to want to paint yellow, because every time I clean my brush, it's just another step and it wipes off and wastes a little bit of paint. So I really like to do everything that I plan on at that point in time before I move on. Woohoo, we got our hot colors on there. Red, yellow, and orange. And now looking at Alma Thomas's work, I see she moves into her cold colors going from green to blue to purple. So I'm gonna kind of repeat that in my own piece. Also, you'll notice my green, I did not have. So I had to make my green, I had to make that secondary color. And the way that I did that was I mixed, you said it, yellow and blue. There are 3 primary colors. We know this. So whenever you need, if you need that paint to go a bit further, you can always dip it into the water. Something else you might notice that I'm doing is I flip my paintbrush over. Sometimes I'm running out of paint, but I have a little bit of extra on the other side. Now after that green, I'm gonna go into my blue. So time to swirl, wipe, and blot. Get into that gorgeous blue. Now your technique to paint these blocks might vary a little bit from me, but as long as you're getting this kind of abstract cube style of painting, of repetition on here, as long as you're trying that in some way and exploring the way Alma Thomas painted, you're going to be good to go. Everyone's artwork will look completely different as usual. That's the amazing thing about art, is everyone's work is unique to their own style, their own materials, their own mood, everything. So hopefully you're in a rainbow kind of mood today when you're making your rainbow painting. Okay, blue. And then I have one last layer here. You might already be done by now. You might, like this one I made up here only had 5. That's totally fine. But if you have 1 more, 3 more, whatever you have, go all the way. You want your work to be completely painted in before you are finished. After all, it is a rainbow we're painting here, right? And it's Alma Thomas, so we want to have lots and lots of color. Okay, voila, there we go. This is always a good time to look at your art, think about, okay, where could I add more, or do I want to add another layer, all of those kinds of things. But basically this is the end result and goal you're going for. We will be having our weekly meetings, and I can't wait for everyone to bring their paintings, show them off to the class, and talk about Alma Thomas and her work. Have fun.